All right.
So there will be a correction. We will not be live streaming this onto YouTube. We are recording it on YouTube and on Zoom, and we will be posting this after the meeting is completed.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the County of Los Angeles Citizen Redistricting Commission's 16th regular public meeting, followed by the public hearing for communities of interest input, Zone G. Today is August 11th, 2021, and the time is 7:12 p.m. We will now call the regular meeting and public hearing to order. Thank you for everyone's patience. Again, today is an experiment. This is our first hybrid meeting, so we are grateful for your patience. The link to the recording will be posted and accessible through the Los Angeles County Redistricting website. If at any time any members of the public have any technical difficulties, please message me, Tyler, and we can work towards fixing the issue. If you would like to make a general public comment or a public comment for an agenda item not related to the communities of interest public hearing, you may submit a speaker card if you are attending in person. If you are joining virtually, you may submit your name to the Q&A along with your affiliation, if any, and the agenda item you would like to make a public comment on. As a reminder, for members of the public interested in making a public comment, if you are attending in person, you may submit a speaker card. If you are attending virtually, you may submit your name and information to the Google form that will soon be available in the chat and is currently available on the CRC website. You will be asked on the form to describe your communities of interest. When you are called to make your public comment, you will be prompted to unmute your mic so you can speak, and you may turn on your video if you are comfortable. If you're participating via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. Once called upon, press *6 to unmute and speak. Each person will have one opportunity to speak for 2 minutes. The co-chairs reserve the right to limit public comments to 1 minute per person or extend it to 3 minutes per person, depending on how many would like to speak. When you begin making your comment, please share your name and any affiliation you may have. If you do not wish to speak but would still like to submit a public comment, you may do so by going to the same Google form. Again, you will find the link to the Google form in the chat or on the CRC website. For members of the public who would like to make a public comment on communities of interest and not a resident of Zone G, you may submit your name and affiliated organization in the Q&A. Your name will be called to make a public comment after members of the public who filled in the communities of interest form for Zone G. In defining communities of interest, this can include, but is not limited to, the economic and social interests that bind your community together. Why your community should be kept together for fair and effective representation, where your community is located, and what nearby areas you would like your areas to be grouped with or not. The order in which we will take public comments will be as follows. First, individuals who complete in-person speaker cards. Second, individuals who complete the communities of interest form by submission. Third, individuals who submit their name to the Q&A box on Zoom. And fourth, individuals who call in. I will now take the roll. As a reminder, commissioners' names will be called in a rotating alphabetical order by last name. Commissioners, please be prepared to unmute your mic and respond when your name is called. Commissioner Dorina Wong.
Present.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Wong. Commissioner Jean Franklin.
Present.
Commissioner David Holtzman.
Present.
Commissioner Mary Kenny.
Present.
Co-Chair Daniel Maeda.
Present.
Commissioner Mark Mendoza.
Present.
Commissioner Apolonio Morales.
Present.
Commissioner Nelson Obregon.
Present.
Commissioner Priscilla Orpanella Segura.
Present.
Commissioner Hyla Soto.
Present.
Commissioner Saida Soto.
Present.
Commissioner Brian Setcher.
Present.
Commissioner John Vento.
Present.
Co-Chair Carolyn Williams.
Present.
Thank you. I will now turn the agenda over to Co-Chair Williams.
Thank you, Ty. And again, I want to thank the city of El Monte for hosting us tonight. And also thank our own Commissioner Orpanella Segura for helping to coordinate us using this great facility. In terms of the agenda, if there are no objections, I'd like to move action items number 5 and 8 to after the public hearing. And so we shall do that. So, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me repeat that. I'm sorry. I want to thank the City of El Monte for hosting us tonight in such a beautiful facility. I also want to thank our own Commissioner Opinella Segura for assisting and making sure we have this beautiful place for our meeting tonight. In terms of the approval of the agenda, if there are no objections, I propose we move action items number 5 and 8 to after the public hearing. And so we'll move to action item number 4, public comment. Ty, are there any public comments for items not on the agenda?
We currently have, sorry for the feedback. We currently have one, Sean Cazares. So Sean Cazares, momentarily you will be able to speak. Once you begin speaking, you will have 2 minutes to make your public comment.
I'm sorry, Ty, this is Co-Chair Maeda. It looks to me as if Sean has a community of interest comment.
Thank you for that clarification, Co-Chair Maeda. Yes, so we currently have nobody in queue for general comments at the moment. Co-Chair Williams, I believe you are muted.
Sorry. We do have one public comment that's not on the agenda. Okay, is that? Okay, we have 2 minutes to speak. Are we ready? Yeah. Can you?
Thank you everyone for your patience. Okay.
Districts representing our community we are the undersigned citizens who state that the United Nations adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a first international recognition that all human beings are entitled to fundamental rights and freedoms, which must be respected and protected by all nations of the world. Enshrined in the Declaration are still not reality. As human rights abuses constitute a global rights problem and give rise to ethnic, racial, and religious conflicts, that we call on all governments and entire public and private sector to ensure that the fundamental freedoms enshrined in the Declaration are universally distributed and become a new reality. That in order to ensure that the fundamental freedoms for everyone enshrined in the Declaration be known, understood, and enjoyed by all everywhere. We call on all governments to make human rights education mandatory in schools and to conduct human rights education at any level. That we call on all government and public and private sector organization to promote the universal education of the United States education campaign, events, documentation, and dissemination of the recognition of children and adults throughout the world. I believe one of the best comments for you as a decision, will anybody you guys decide to have and protect the rights of all people in our district without any type of discrimination or any color, because we are an international society here in our community. So we cannot separate certain people because we need everybody to continue the business and take our infrastructures that we need.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you, I'm sorry, can you state your name again and spell it for us, please, for the record?
And my
Thank you.
Okay,
So,
okay.
so I believe we do not have any more for general comments, but I do see Commissioner Stetcher's hand up.
Yes, thank you. There was a question in the Q&A that I think it would be appropriate to answer at the beginning so people understood about access to translation services and what is required to ensure that those are available if someone wants to speak in a different language.
There is a requirement that you let us know 24 hours before a public hearing if you need interpretation services. If it's a regular meeting, not a public hearing, it's 72 hours. We did not receive any requests for translations for this meeting. However, we do have 3 commissioners who are attending the hybrid in person who have offered to help if there are comments that people would like to make in Spanish. And that would be Commissioner Orpanela Segura, Commissioner Hyla Soto, Commissioner Apollonia Morales, and I want to thank them in advance for providing this support service. With that, shall we start the regular presentation? And again, I apologize. This is our first hybrid meeting. El Monte has been wonderful to host. We are having to do a combination in an historic building of hotspots being set around the room. The attendees are hearing an echo just as you're hearing over the regular speaker. So we appreciate your patience throughout this process. So co-chair, shall we start the formal presentation on what redistricting is?
Making the presentation tonight, Commissioners Orpanela Segura, Commissioner Wong, and myself. Can we start? We're getting our slide deck together, so please be patient with us. One moment.
Co-Chair Williams, you may begin.
Okay, tonight our presentation is an overview of the redistricting process for LA County. And I believe Commissioner Segura, Opinel Segura is up. Okay.
Okay, good evening. Can everyone hear me? Yeah? Okay. Good evening. My name is Commissioner Priscilla Orpinella Segura, and on behalf of the LA County Redistricting Commission, I'm happy to be here in person to share information about redistricting and receive your feedback. I know it has been shared already, but I want to thank again the City of El Monte, especially Sheila Crippen, for making the space available and helping promote the meeting in the community. Tonight, we'll be discussing a new approach to redistricting and what makes our commission different. We'll also go over the significance of LA County, along with some of its background, an overview of redistricting, and finally, what you can do. Next slide. The LA County Redistricting Commission is completely independent, meaning we only receive and review feedback from the community and community organizations to look into how the district lines will be drawn. In the past, the Board of Supervisors appointed an advisory board to study the district boundaries, and ultimately it was the supervisors who would make the final decisions as to how the district lines would be drawn, often creating disadvantages for communities of color. But in 2016, a state law passed that would create the LA County Redistricting Commission, comprised of 14 members that would reasonably reflect the diversity of the county. As I shared, we're completely independent. So what does that really mean? It means that the Board of Supervisors has no input as to where to draw the lines. The only input is from you, the community. As a new commission, our goal is to be inclusive and responsive to you and the many communities across the county. So very early on, we established values to guide us in our efforts. Can we go to the slide with our values? Yes. Our 5 values are accountability, transparency, objectivity, integrity, inclusion, and equity. We are accountable to you and the process. We're committed to openness. We remain impartial and actively resist influence. And we're truthful and ethical. And finally, we do seek to foster a sense of belonging for the community. You can read more about our values on our website. So now that you know more about who we are, I want to share information about the county's significance, diversity, and size. So let's start with the significance of redistricting, if we can go to the next slide. Redistricting occurs every 10 years using data that comes from the census. So you may recall that the last census was last year in 2020. And redistricting occurs at different levels. At the state level, drawings are lawn for Congress, Senate, and the Assembly. Locally, it is taking place in the city of LA with the school district, LAUSD, and at the county level, which is why we're here with you today. Redistricting happens to capture changes that may have occurred after the census. For example, we know that people move to and from the county. The population may have changed within the census period. People may be expanding their families or decreasing their family sizes, and neighborhoods change. In addition, redistricting is needed for 3 reasons. To rebalance districts. Remember, I shared that people move to and from the county, so we want to balance the districts. Ensure that they're relatively equal in size, and enable communities to elect a supervisor of their choice. So now let's talk about the makeup of the LA County supervisors, if we can go to the next slide. The 5-member Board of Supervisors govern LA County, and they do have a large responsibility. For example, they manage a budget of $36 billion. That's a budget that's often larger than some states. They also review policies that respond to residents and ensure that communities have access to critical services like fire, social services, and sheriff's department. For areas that are unincorporated, the responsibilities of a supervisor are similar to that of a mayor. So let's continue learning more about the county if we could go to the next slide. With 10 million people, LA County is the most populous in the entire country. And we have the third largest metropolitan economy in the world. So we all know that LA County is also known for its ethnic diversity. And I want to call your attention to the graph that you see on the left side. The numbers in the graph correspond to the districts of the Board of Supervisors. For example, I live in the community of El Sereno, and I correspond to district number 1. The white and pink colors correspond to unincorporated and incorporated areas of the county. The areas in white are incorporated, those in pink are unincorporated. So I do want to stress that with redistricting, we are only looking into how the lines of the districts will be drawn. The number of districts will not change. Next slide. Each district has approximately 2 million people. And although some districts look larger than others, for instance, District 5 may look like it's geographically larger, the population still remains the same as, say, District 3. Each district has a board of supervisors that represents the area. And as I had mentioned earlier, the supervisors are elected by voters like you. Redistricting ensures that communities will be able to elect a supervisor of their choice. So I hope you found this information, background information about redistricting and the county helpful. I'm going to call on my colleague, Commissioner Dorina Wong, to share more information about redistricting.
Thank you, Commissioner Orbanella Segura. Good evening, everyone. My name is Commissioner Dorina Wong, and I represent District 3. I'd like to share an overview of the redistricting process so you'll have a better sense of how we should be drawing the lines for the county's 5 supervisory districts. Next slide. Now, there's some rules that we have to look at that come from the U.S. Constitution, the Voting Rights Act, and state election law that guides us when we're considering what criteria to follow in order to make sure the lines are drawn fairly and correctly. So I'm going to go quickly over some of the criteria initially, and then I'll go into each in a little more detail afterwards. So the first consideration is that each district should be reasonably equal or approximately equal in terms of the total number of county residents for each district. So since LA County has approximately 10 million people, 5 districts of approximately 2 million residents within about a 10% deviation. So second, each district shall comply with the Voting Rights Act, which prohibits racial and ethnic discrimination in voting and specifically allows taking into account race and ethnicity. Third, each district should be geographically contiguous or connected. Fourth, the geographic integrity of cities, local neighborhoods, or communities of interest should be respected in a way that minimizes their division, meaning to avoid breaking them up if possible. Fifth, to the extent possible, the district should be geographically compact if there's no conflict with the other 4 criteria. And then finally, the district should not favor or disfavor an incumbent political candidate or political party. Okay, so let's take a little deeper look into what these criteria are. Next slide. As I said, each district must be reasonably equal in population. So many of you were probably involved with the Census 2020 last year, or at least hopefully participated in it and filled out the form. So the census is constitutionally mandated to be conducted every 10 years, and the redistricting lines for local, state, and federal jurisdictions are redrawn to reflect the changes in the population during the previous 10 years. So our county districts will be based on the total population as reported by the Census 2020, which apparently is supposed to come out with some of the data very soon, within the next few days. And then for LA, that means, as I said, each district will be about 2 million people. Next slide. Now let's see how to comply with the Voting Rights Act and look at the race and ethnicity and the rules related to those criteria. We have to give racial and ethnic groups a fair shot. So what do we mean by a fair shot? It means giving them a chance to elect a candidate of their choice so that that candidate can understand and responds to their needs and the needs of that district. We also, as I mentioned, it prohibits discrimination in voting based on race and ethnicity. Next slide. So let's look at an example of how we can draw lines. There's many ways to draw the lines. So if you take a look at the figure on the right, where let's say the three people represent the white population and the darker person represents the minority voters, you can divide up the population into 4 districts where the minority voters represent about a quarter of any one district. This would be diluting their votes, or what we might call cracking, even though there's an equal number of people in each district. Next slide. Let's look at another way to divide up, to draw the lines, to allow the minority voters to have an ability to elect a candidate of their choice by kind of concentrating the minorities into one district, where they now can make up a larger majority of that district. So we still have the 4 districts, each equal in size, but what's different? So the district in the middle has 75% of the voters of a minority. So it meets all of the redistricting criteria, that it's a majority minority district, it's geographically compact, it's politically cohesive and geographically contiguous. Next slide. So the next criteria is whether all the districts are contiguous or connected. We want to make sure that they're connected. So you can see the difference in these 2 illustrations. The one on the left shows that it's all connected. And then the one on the right, it shows that it is like non-contiguous or disconnected. So obviously the contiguous district is what is required. Next slide. Now, where to draw the lines? There's the other consideration, the 4th consideration, is to preserve the geographic integrity of the cities, neighborhoods, and communities of interest. Now, this is particularly important, and this is why we have organized these hearings, so that we can hear from you to identify what local communities of interest are. That is what makes up a community of interest. You will help us decide that. So when we look at cities, they're a little easier to know because they have boundaries. Even when we look at neighborhoods, there's different ways to define a neighborhood. If you look at the illustrations on the right, the LA Times has done it. There's, independent people have created neighborhoods, and then there's also neighborhood councils. But the communities of interest is defined as a population that shares common social and economic interests that should be kept in a single district. And when we're talking about that, it could be a cultural or language community, or it could be a community that has common local interests, such as air pollution or traffic or lack of access to services. So we need to hear from you that, to as much as possible, we can keep those communities of interest in the same district. Next slide. Now, the 5th criteria is to draw the district compactly if possible. So when you look at the figures on the right, there's a nice circle, a nice shape to it. Of course, it's kind of hard to have that nice shape, when we're drawing lines, but to the extent possible, it would be good to keep, the district compact. And as opposed, it could be a little distorted or dispersed, but it should be as compact as necessary and don't bypass populations. Next slide. Now, next slide. Now, in addition to those 5 criteria that we just went over, we also have to make sure we don't discriminate against an incumbent, a political candidate, or a political party. So on this slide, you'll see like 60% of one group is yellow and 40% of another is green. That could represent political party or even a community of interest. So there are we're going to share a couple of examples of different ways to draw the lines. Look to the right. You can see that the way the lines are drawn actually do not represent properly the way that the proportion of the yellow and green groups are. So, and the one way that they draw it, all of the yellow wins in the middle, the yellow wins all the time. And then on the far right, the green wins when, so let's look at another way to do it. Next slide. Now, to ensure that the lines are drawn fairly and represent the kind of the proportionality of the group as much as possible, these two districts represent more fairly the yellow and green groups, and it's more proportional because the green is about 60% in both of these districts, and then the yellow is about 60% and the green is about 40%. So bottom line, when we're drawing the lines, we have to consider these different criteria and make sure that they're fair and equitable, and most importantly, that those living in those districts can elect candidates of their choice. So I'm going to turn the presentation over. I'm not sure, Co-Chair Williams, are you doing the last part of the presentation?
Yes, I'm doing the last part of the
Okay,
presentation.
thank you.
And what I will cover is how you can stay involved and what can you do. Next slide, please. What's important when we start to talk about redistricting is to make sure we have public participation. So when we start to say, how can you get involved? One of the ways is to attend the meeting like this. In person, or you can via Zoom. Sign up and stay informed on what our activities are, and submit redistricting maps once the census 2020 data is available. In terms of drawing maps, we'll have free workshops for you, and also we'll provide software for you to use to submit maps, because we need your input as we start to draw these. Again, I mentioned attending workshops. We have planned 10 community of interest public hearings. I think this is our number 8th one, and we have 2 more to go, plus additional meetings for you to provide input. And the more, and later when the maps are drawn, we'll have additional hearings, so you provide input into the maps that's later in the fall. But here our website is listed, redistricting.lacounty.gov. Provides a lot of information and overview of our process and other ways you can get involved. Next slide. These are the 10 meetings that we have planned, and we have some additional meetings coming up. Right now, I think we're at number 8, but these meetings are represented or not districts. There are 5 supervisorial districts. This is our way of creating zones where we can provide input based upon zip codes. Right now, we're in zone G at the El Monte Community Center. Coming up on August 19th, we'll be at West LA College. In the fall, we have 3 hearings in September, 2 at the Patriotic Hall, and 1 in San Fernando Valley on September 22nd. But again, stay tuned, check out our website and for more information and dates, times, and places for the upcoming hearings. Next slide, please. This is, okay, that's great. Okay, this is where we've got some additional hearings planned. Again, with Antelope Valley coming up on the 22nd of August. These are what we call hybrids, like what we're doing right now. It's an opportunity for you to participate in person. And for some of you may still be able to participate in Zoom, by Zoom. We want to make sure there's an opportunity for us to get out into the neighborhoods and to the communities throughout the county of Los Angeles, so we can hear what you have to say about the communities of interest, and so we'll know what to keep together and how to draw the lines. Again, 5 hybrid meetings. We also have toolkits for you if you're looking at how to get involved and maybe talk to a neighborhood council, a homeowners association, or your nonprofit. We have toolkits in what we call 12 threshold languages of the county. They're listed here, from Armenian, Chinese, Cambodian to Japanese, Thai, Russian, and a number of others. In that toolkit, there are flyers, fact sheets, presentations. And again, these are in different languages to help you spread the word. We're here for you. And if you need other assistance, please go to our website again for more information. Next slide. These are our 14 commissioners for the LA County Redistricting Commission. Again, we are independent. We were chosen to reasonably reflect the diversity of LA County. That includes the racial makeup of the county, ethnicity, the geographic makeup of the county, gender, and political makeup. So we represent you. We're citizens. We're not professional demographers, even though some of us have a background there, but we were chosen to represent the citizens of the county and to create the 5 districts without political influence. Next slide, please. Again, stay up, stay informed. Here's our information, our website. Again, everything in terms of how do you attend the meeting, public hearings, that's there. You can listen to the CRC meetings and public hearings. There's a phone number. You can Zoom in, and it's also available on YouTube. Next slide. One of the things we're really grateful for as citizen commissioners is a great staff. Here, our executive director, Gayla Hartzell, our commission clerk, Ty Lee, our marketing consultant, Carlos De Alba, and our independent legal counsel, Holly Watley. These are the people who help us stay on track, help us stay planned, but again, it's up to us as independent commissioners to draw the line. Next slide. Okay, thank you so much. That's our overview for the redistricting process for the County of Los Angeles. And now the public hearing is now open.
I'm going to walk the room and collect any speaker cards from members who are here in person. And in the meantime, our clerk Ty Lee will be collecting those from folks who are attending virtually.
Thank you. Again, thank you everyone for being so patient with this hybrid version. As you all know, technology can have some mishaps once in a while. So as a reminder for members of the public interested in making a public comment, if you are attending in person, you may submit a speaker card. If you are attending virtually, you may submit your name and information to the Google form available in the chat and on the CRC website. You will be asked on the form to describe your communities of interest. When you are called to make your public comment, you will be prompted to unmute your mic. If you are participating via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. Once called upon, press *6 to unmute and speak. Each person will have one opportunity to speak for 2 minutes. The co-chairs reserve the right to limit public comments to 1 minute per person or extend it to 3 minutes per person, depending on how many would like to speak. When you begin making your comment, please share your name and any affiliation you may have. If you do not wish to speak, but would still like to submit a public comment, you may do so by going to the same Google form. We will then record this public comment and it will be available on the CRC website. Again, you will find the link to the Google form in the chat or on the CRC website. For members of the public who would like to make a public comment on communities of interest and not a resident of Zone G, you may submit your name and affiliated organization in the Q&A. Your name will be called to make a public comment after members of the public who filled in the communities of interest form for Zone G. In defining communities of interest, this can include, but is not limited to, the economic and social interests that bind your community together, why your community should be kept together for fair and effective representation, where your community is located, and what nearby areas you would like your areas to be grouped with or not. The order in which we will take the public comments will be as followed. First, individuals who complete in-person speaker cards. Second, individuals who complete the communities of interest form by submission. Third, individuals who submit their name to the Q&A box on Zoom. And fourth, individuals who call in. Okay. And again, I do want to thank the city of El Monte for their generosity in letting us use their place. Again, thank you everyone for your patience as we are dealing with technology as well. With that, we do have 2 in-person comments. The first is Henry Fung. Okay. So Henry Fung, co-chairs, how many minutes would we like to give? We have about 10 public comments, 10 or 11. 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Okay, so 3 minutes. Yeah, would you like the video on? Okay. Again, thank you everyone for your patience as we figure out the technology on our end.
Okay. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Henry Fung, and I live in the unincorporated San Gabriel Valley. Actually, the map that you see on the screen is kind of where I live because I'm in that weird zone between Baldwin Park, West Covina, Covina, and Irwindale. It's an unincorporated area. It's called unincorporated Vincent. And I have a Covina mailing address, but I actually don't live in SD5 where Covina is. I live in SD1. And I think this is a problem in terms of the San Gabriel Valley, that the San Gabriel Valley is split up into 3 districts. The San Gabriel Valley needs to be in 1 district. It's one San Gabriel Valley. Just because I cross Vincent Avenue doesn't mean that much changes. The air pollution, the environmental issues, the issues of jobs, they are all the same throughout the San Gabriel Valley, whether you're on one side of Vincent Avenue or Arrow Highway or the other. You have a district, the 4th district is a very uncompact district stretching from Diamond Bar to the coast. And the 5th district is going from Cal Poly Pomona all the way to the Avenue A in the North County. I think the San Gabriel Valley has many things in common. We have a Latino and an Asian population that work very well together. Many of our cities have Latino and Asian council members. They all get along. And we work together in community organizations like Active SGV for San Gabriel Valley and different other organizations for open government and so forth. We want to be together so that we can advocate for the interests of the San Gabriel Valley in terms of transportation, water, all these very important issues. We need to be in one San Gabriel Valley. So how I would define the San Gabriel Valley as a community of interest, is I would start from the eastern boundary in Pomona, Claremont, and go west and get 2 million people that way, starting from the eastern boundary going west. And my definition of the San Gabriel Valley, the southern boundary would probably be the Point A Hills. So cities, Rolling Heights, Hacienda Heights would be in this district. Places like Whittier, Pico Rivera, they would be in another district. And I would take the San Gabriel Valley district all the way up to the mountains. I would not have places like Claremont, San Dimas not be in the San Gabriel Valley district. They have less in common to do with Lancaster than they do with Baldwin Park, places like San Dimas and Glendora. So there needs to be one San Gabriel Valley district, and certainly not cutting off unincorporated communities by arbitrary roads like Vincent Avenue. So that's my comment. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Christian Trigueros. So Christian, when you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment.
Let's see if we can. See, get the little sound. So, we start.
Yes.
My name is Christian Trigueros, and I'm the founder of True Graphics, Neighborhood Economic Development. And for the last 4 years, I've been involved in the Catholic community, which involves the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, which covers the whole town. And basically, through the services that I've been providing, I acknowledge a lot of services that are not being given, considering after the crisis, the home crisis, and the wars that are going on, the drug wars, and the COVID, the depopulation of students in the Miami School District is one of the other major concerns for the depopulation of the families, which has caused the closure of 5 schools in the district. And also too, considering that we have a football organization, Armani gets and cheers from the San Gabriel Valley football conference. So we work together and play together with other cities and basically compete. And we were depopulated also. We used to have at least like 4 to 5, even 6 divisions, and now we only have 2 or 3. So it's kind of sad. It's a kind of, to me, it seems like it's sad to say or hard to hear, but some type of genocide going on for the evictions and populations and for housing and all those things. It affected us hard, significantly. Also, the baseball leagues. That's also a bigger demand and a community that I work with too. I've been on the board too of the football program, representing the whole South Amani and Amani. So I recognize even with those 2 cities that were affected, even as the schools are the way their districts are covered. They're separated from the big industries in South Amani or in Rosemead. They're not included, I guess, in the district. So, and all the tax money that those businesses make is not given to the schools in the lower class or low income area. And so the only thing we have in our communities that we have and actually is all self-organized and self-funded by volunteers is the District 18 baseball, which is we pay other cities too. And it's actually not just from our cities, the whole entire nation and country that we compete with, even to the World Series. That's how important it is that we have to
Thank you. Your time is up.
as an international community, and not just that, but and protect our local communities at large, because no matter who we are, what we are.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you very much.
And using the school districts, prioritizing those services that are free or they're self-funded and volunteers, they should be prioritizing those things within the school district.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you. There's more to be said. But...
All right. Thank you again, Christian. So those are our only in-person submitted public comments for the public hearing. We are going to move on to those who submitted their community of interest form online. Okay, so the first person that we had is Diego Rodriguez. So Diego, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself. And if you're comfortable, you may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment. So Diego, whenever you're ready, you can unmute yourself. And if you're comfortable, you may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, thank you. Yes, my name is Diego Rodriguez. I'm the Director of Operations of Alma Family Services. And while tonight's meeting might be focusing on the San Gabriel Valley, I would like to also speak regarding the communities of East, Southeast, and Northeast Los Angeles as well, along with the San Gabriel Valley, hoping that they will be preserved as one district. I believe our communities must remain united because we share regional geography, culture, economic, and social interests. The Northeast LA area, for example, the Highland Park, Glasso Park, Eagle Rock, Echo Park, Legion Valley, Mount Washington, Southeast LA communities like Southgate, Walnut Park, Huntington Park, Maywood, Cudahy, and San Gabriel Valley communities for many years have worked together, coming together, sharing concerns, working collaboratively towards growth of the entire region and to build a united, safe, healthy, and strong community. We are a community of interest. I'm a social services provider. I started my career 15 years ago in Southeast LA in Pico Rivera. Then I transferred to Northeast LA, where I still oversee a number of projects. I manage different clinics in East LA and in El Monte, where I've been specifically at McLaren Hall for the last 7 years. I've seen how firsthand the different unique characteristics of each city and each community have come together into the tapestry that we are as a community of interest. And as such, I believe that it is in our best interest to be represented by one supervisor instead of split between several supervisors. One supervisor that can advocate on behalf of the entire region in terms of access to healthcare, job and development, rehabilitation opportunities for vulnerable people, including youth and children, education, and so many critical concerns. The San Gabriel Valley will definitely benefit from continuity of leadership and the same sense of unity and togetherness, which I have described. I hope you hear us, that we should not be penalized with arbitrary lines across our communities. Our communities have come together and stayed together over many decades and have grown considerably in the recent years. Please don't undo so much progress by dividing us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. The next person is Sean Cazares. Sean, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself. And if you're comfortable, you may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Sean Cazares, and I'm from San Dimas, California. I'm a member of Livable California and United Neighbors Housing Justice Organizations. On behalf of the communities of Covina, Glendora, Laverne, and San Dimas, I respectfully urge the commission to place us in one supervisorial district and that the aforementioned cities be put in a compact district which would encompass contiguous communities of North Los Angeles County, including the Antelope Valley and the Northwest communities of San Fernando and Santa Clarita Valley. Our cities collaborate on issues including transportation, planning, homelessness, public safety, emergency preparedness and response, water quality and supply surrounding the unincorporated cities directly above the National Monument. These cities of North Los Angeles County and the valleys, in conjunction with the cities of Covina, Glendora, Laverne, and San Dimas, which we'll call the foothill communities that constitute the working class, upper middle, and upper class, represent the rural and bedroom style population. Furthermore, us in the foothill communities are indeed a community of interest. We are tied by heritage consisting of the Anglo-Hispanic, Amerindian, and Californio ethnos. We share the kinship of a diverse sociolinguistic tongue and economic interests. We are the territory once inhabited by the Palomares family and want to keep that heritage intact. We of the foothill communities respectfully urge not to be placed with the cities of Claremont, Pomona, and the communities mentioned by those in public comment, seeing as their community of interest is disproportionately different from ours, and we don't want to disadvantage their community with our specific needs and wants, and we don't want it vice versa. That's all I had to say. Thank you for your time, commissioners.
Thank you, Sean. Next, we have Adriana Quinones. I don't see Adriana in the room. For members of the public who has submitted a public comment to the communities of interest form, just a reminder, please change your name on Zoom to reflect your name that you submitted on the public comment. Since Adriana is currently not in the room, we will move on to the next. Next, we have Teresa Vega. So Teresa Vega is also currently not in the room. So again, if you would still like to make your public comment, please rename yourself to reflect the name that you put on the community of interest form. Moving on, we have Denise Villamil. Denise, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself, and if you are comfortable, you may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment.
Good evening. My name is Denise Villamil. I understand tonight's meeting will be focusing on the San Gabriel Valley. I would like to propose that the community of East, Southeast, and Northeast Los Angeles, along with the San Gabriel Valley, must be preserved as one district. I am a resident and stakeholder of Northeast LA and East LA communities, but also have served as a service provider in El Monte and other areas within the San Gabriel Valley. And also uniquely, like the East Side area, it's a unique community of interest composed of various stakeholders who share a vision and unity. As a service provider for youth, it has been decades of working together with partners who share the same interest in helping this region. This is a result of the genuine investment and understanding of the needs of the families and children in this area. We are able to relate to similar challenges and find solutions together. A division and redistricting of our district could result in drastic service area disruption and ultimately at the cost of the community, who is in high need of our services and various services, not just the ones that I participated in. All the partners have shared interest. As a service provider, I have seen how having one supervisor who advocates on behalf of the whole region is critical to address the inequities, promote growth, and collaboration across communities that share similar interests. It is important to have one representative who we can rely on for the needs of the region. The East Side has grown considerably, and I have experienced this growth as a Northeast LA resident, service provider, and parent, as I mentioned earlier. The progress is a result of years of work and the leadership of one supervisor who understands the importance of addressing the region's individual needs while also having a larger vision for the district. We do not want a region fragmented. We strongly advocate against dividing our region, which has moved towards greater collaboration and improved quality of life for the community at large. As a constituent, I urge the commission to put the community's shared interest first. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Next, we have Yolanda Rodriguez. Yolanda, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself, and if you're comfortable, you may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment. So Yolanda, whenever you're ready, please unmute yourself. And if you're comfortable, you may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. 'Cause I don't see my face there. But anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, so.
Okay. I'm sorry, Yolanda, there's some feedback. Do you have something in the back?
Let me see. I think I'm on my phone. Let me turn it off. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better. So
Yeah,
whenever
okay,
you're
I'm
ready.
sorry. Yes, I'm ready. I'm sorry for my time. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Yolanda Rodriguez Peña, and I am a resident of Azusa in the unincorporated area of the San Gabriel Valley for over 40 years. I am also a governing board member of Azusa Unified School District, and I would like to keep District 1 in our city of Azusa with Supervisor Solis. We have very little in common with cities like Beverly Hills, Sierra Madre, Claremont. We are much more in common with areas like Bowen Park, El Monte, La Puente, where Supervisor Solis was from. She can relate to us as a community and understand our needs. We are a community of blue collar workers. We have over 92% Latinos in Azusa, mostly Spanish speaking. And I also like, and also with the cities that I just mentioned prior. Many of us have 2 jobs to be able to pay the rent or our expenses. These are areas that are provided resources, attention from the government, which we have been receiving, especially in terms of COVID-19, homelessness, and jobs. We need to keep in the same district so we can advocate with our united voices. We do not put, please do not put us in areas where someone will not understand our concerns or our needs. And I also like to thank Ty V. Lee for helping me get through this. It was very hard for me to get in here, but I want to thank you, and I appreciate your time, and thank you for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you for the appreciation. Okay, so we have a hand up from Commissioner Franklin.
Yes, thank you. You indicated do not put your community of interest, which is Azusa, and I believe you mentioned Baldwin Park. Do not put you in areas that you do not have any interest. Do you know, can you share with the commissioners on which areas that you would prefer not to be included in?
Yolanda, if you are still with us and would like to answer the question. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question. I'm sorry.
Okay, you indicated at your last, I think probably your last sentence, do not include your community of interest with other areas that you have no interest in. Could you clarify on what cities or areas that might be that you would not like to be included in?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Thank you. And it's not that I'm not interested in them. I'm just saying that, like, for instance, Beverly Hills, Sierra Madre, and Claremont. I mean, even Glendora, that is our next door neighbor. I sometimes I don't think that they. I myself, as a board member, also I see that they don't relate to some of the concerns that we have in our community. I mean, you can go across the street to the other side, and it's totally different. It's sad to say that even Claremont, and compared to the city of Azusa and El Monte and Baldwin Park, those cities seem to, even the community, the needs are different.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Yolanda.
You're welcome.
So our next speaker, I see Adriana Quinones is joining us now. So Adriana, momentarily, you'll be able to unmute your mic and share your video if you're comfortable. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment. Adriana, whenever you are ready, you can unmute yourself and share your video. Adriana, if you are having difficulties connecting to the audio or finding the unmute button, please send me a message or put into the Q&A if you are having any difficulties. Okay, so Adriana, I do see your hand is raised. You should be, no.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. My name is Adriana Quinones. I'm a resident of Hacienda Heights. I'm a community activist. I would definitely like to keep Hacienda Heights, Roland Heights, and Diamond Bar as part of one representative and not break us up. We do have a diversified community of Asian, Latinos, and others. So definitely we work very closely together, and breaking us up would not work well for our communities. There's a lot of needs in our communities, and we are still working towards making positive changes. I'm hoping that we can keep our county supervisor, Supervisor Hahn. She knows what our needs are and is working towards making changes. We have a lot of challenges. We would definitely like to work together with Supervisor Solis as well. We have a major issue with Chemetco. That's why I joined this meeting so late. If you're not aware, I would suggest that each one of you becomes aware of the contamination that is happening in the San Gabriel area with this company. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Adriana. Next, we have Arturo Jimenez. So Arturo, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself and share your video if you are comfortable. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment. Okay. So Arturo, I believe you are still muted.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. It's a little bit difficult to figure things out. My name is Arturo Jimenez. I'm in Pomona. I've lived in Pomona for 45 years. I'm a director of a technical college in downtown Pomona. I'm also a board member for the Pomona Unified School District. And I wanted to speak to the issue of the congruence of what's happening in South Pomona with the rest of the district going into Diamond Bar. We see more of a community as our interests are shifting a little bit more in that South Pomona, we see a larger population of Asian community growing in the south, I guess growing along the 60 freeway. So that would be nice to continue to see more that we have more of a communities of interest in that area. There's also the issues of how we're bifurcated in terms of representation for the state versus the federal government. The interests are different. For the state, we are looking east towards the towards the Inland Empire. Those are more communities of interest for us. For the federal, we're because of how things are, how the dynamics work. We're a community that would do better in being in the San Gabriel Valley as a whole, rather than being part of just one little city that is part of the congressional district that's not part of the rest of the Inland Valley Empire. So those are two different things. I know the federal government, we would do better going west, but for the state, we would do better going east because of how the money comes down from the state, how things are allocated and so on. Our communities of interest continue to be Pomona, Diamond Bar. A lot of the other people have spoken about how the cities up against the Claremont and so on continue to be a little bit different. Claremont is a little bit different now in that Claremont and Pomona, because of our socioeconomics and parts of the city of Pomona, you might believe it or not, we do have a large population, over 20% of homes that make over households that make over $100,000. And that being the case, those homes tend to be northern, closer to Claremont, and southern, closer to Diamond Bar. That's why so we have some commonality there. A lot of our folks in Pomona go shop and they're entertained in Claremont. We do the same thing south going into Diamond Bar. And there's a lot of more of those interests establishing now. Again, still in terms of other things, in terms of more shopping and so on, we still continue to go east into Montclair and into Chino Hills and we look east for shopping. So those are pretty much my comments at this time. And I hope I have another opportunity later to share more.
Thank you, Arturo. Next on our list is Armando Ng. Armando, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself, and if you are comfortable, you may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you have 3 minutes to make your public comment.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, my name is Armando Ng, and I'm a resident of District 1. And one of the things that I see with the the current board of supervisor is, in LA County, I just kind of looked at the census, and it's made up of about 15% Asian population, but yet I don't see a single Asian representation in the board of supervisor. And I went back and checked the history of the board of supervisor, and I still didn't see any Asian representation throughout its history. So I think it would make sense to, at least just like Commissioner Wong stated, one of the goals is to increase the chances of a minority group having a fair representation in the board of supervisors. So I think it would make sense to find a way to sort of district in a district where there is a majority or at least an increased percentage of Asian population where we can elect a supervisor that can represent us, the Asian. That would make a lot of sense. As I look at all the 5 different districts, I see that the Asian population, each of those districts, ranges between 6.9% to about 18%. And as I looked at, for example, the San Gabriel Valley, which has a very large concentration of the Asian population, and I see that we have been split in between 3 or 4 different districts. And that's why you only see between 6.9 and 18% in each of those districts. So that by itself will prevent Asian from ever, to be honest, from ever electing an Asian representation in the board of supervisors. So I would really encourage the commissioners to please look carefully and look deeper into how you draw the lines to ensure that you increase, at least the chances of having an Asian representation in the board of supervisors. And that's all the comments that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Armando. Next on the list is Romberto Nunez. Romberto, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself, and if you're comfortable, please share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment.
Evening, Commissioners. I'd like to propose that the communities of East, Southeast, and Northeast LA, along with the San Gabriel Valley, be preserved as one district. My name is Rem Nunez, and I was raised in Southgate, which is in Southeast Los Angeles. For the last 13 years, I've been working in the Northeast and East LA communities as a social service provider. I'd also like to share that I've also worked in Pico Rivera, which leans towards a bit more towards the San Gabriel Valley. And however, some of my clients were from areas on the east side, like Ramona Gardens, El Sereno, and surrounding areas. I'm here to ask, with all due respect, Commissioners, that you consider that we are in a pandemic, and the communities I just mentioned have benefited from having one person advocating for them and working for them. As a social service provider, I can tell you that the communities in North, South, and East LA, as well as the San Gabriel Valley, function as a community of interest, which rely on each other for unique social resources. These neighborhoods are communities of interest that would be best served by a single representative who can advocate for them for the essential services that we need, like health services, employment, and other vital and essential services, especially during a pandemic. A good example is LA County USC, which serves the East LA area, Northeast, Southeast, as well as the San Gabriel Valley. We need a person who can continue the work of Care First that unites all these communities. These communities have benefited from having one person serve their unique needs. Commissioners, I ask you, and I'm sure you're aware that these communities contain some of the neediest people in Los Angeles, and the social supports brought into these communities have brought many benefits to those who live there. Breaking connections, services, leadership in this delicate time would be a miscalculation which can affect the most vulnerable in LA County. On a personal note, I'd like to just share that because of the nexus of services that exist across the regions of the communities I mentioned, a lot of my family members from Southgate have been able to easily access the vaccines across East LA and the Northeast area. So this is something personal to me. I've seen it, connection, the supports work. And so I thank you for your time. And I urge you to consider the fact that we are in a delicate time. Thank you.
Commissioner Stetcher, you have your hand up.
Yes, I wonder if Mr. Nunez could tell us a little more specifically which are the communities he considers in this block, East, Northeast, Southeast, LA, because it's a pretty broad swath, and it's probably, if you throw the San Gabriel Valley in, it's maybe more than 2 million people. So
sure, let me specify just a bit. So my family, large of my family, when we arrived here from El Salvador, pretty much landed in Southgate, and were able to connect with folks in Huntington Park, Walnut, and up or to Boyle Heights in the East LA area. We were able to engage in services, crucial and vital services over in LA County USC as I was growing up, and we're able to make connections with families there and find supports there. And so there's a through line from communities from like Southgate, Huntington Park, up into Boyle Heights, East LA, and then moving up north to like El Sereno, City Terrace, and Lincoln Heights. And I can tell you that for some reason or another, Mr. Setzer, all our family has been connected up in that region. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I think because there is similar resources, there's similar support services that speak to all folks in that region. And a lot of my folks have also kind of gone a bit east over to the Pico Rivera, La Puente area as well. And so we all connect, and we all kind of have these same cultural similarities and resources that we all share. And I'll give you a perfect example. Not too long ago, I was able to give resources to my family over in La Puente, who were able to benefit from some of the services that are being provided over in that area, which leans towards more of the San Gabriel Valley.
Thank you.
Thank you. So commissioners, that looks like all the submissions to the communities of interest form. So we'll move to the Q&A. We have one submission in the Q&A, Cecilia Romo. Cecilia, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself, and if you are comfortable, you also may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment.
Hello?
Hi, yes, we can hear you.
Alrighty. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Cecia Romo. I'm currently a resident living in the San Gabriel Valley area, and I would like to respectfully ask for the commission to consider keeping the San Gabriel Valley region together. The reason being, currently, the communities of interest of South El Monte, La Puente, Rosemead, and Baldwin Park have been working together on issues of homelessness. They have been supporting each other in building regional shelters and housing for all to access. In addition, the cities of interest in the San Gabriel Valley region have joined together during this devastating time to maximize county services such as vaccination and testing sites within the region. The relationships that San Gabriel Valley region has made within the county have been tremendously helpful in our communities. If we are split up, it would be jeopardizing those relationships and services, which is why we must remain together as one. Our community is a working class community that share many cultural and economic interests within our neighborhood cities. Keeping us together will ensure that the San Gabriel Valley region communities will continue to have a strong district representation and the flow of much needed funds. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Cynthia Gabaldon. Cynthia, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself, and if you're comfortable, you may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment.
Unmute in video. There I am. Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for having these meetings online also. I'm actually a 50-year resident of this, over 50-year resident of the San Gabriel Valley. I actually grew up in Duarte, and I've actually lived in Azusa, San Dimas, and right now I actually live in Laverne. One thing that I'm hearing throughout these conversations, I'm hearing about services and funding and money, but I'm not really hearing about how life really works up here, especially in terms of the foothill communities. Somebody already brought up that San Dimas, Laverne, Covina, Glendora, we'd all like to be in one area, and that is true. As somebody who has grown up in Duarte and whose family still lives there, I don't think there's enough understanding or emphasis about the overall transportation and the joint joint connection of the 210 corridor. All of us who live, you know, like I said, all the way from, at least for Duarte at the 605, all the way over to Laverne, we travel, we're all family, we go to each other's churches. And I don't know, I've never been in one of these before. And I just wanted to emphasize that, because the foothill corridor and that 210 corridor, it's really special up here. And as somebody, like I said, who's lived up in this area my whole life, I think it's very, very important to try to keep it generally the same. So keeping Glendora, San Dimas, and Covina together would be great. There's an area called Citrus that would be great to pull in. But even to continue it all the way over to Monrovia and Sierra Madre and Temple City over there, that actually wouldn't be a bad idea, because we're all one big family up here. And I'm just hoping that that point doesn't actually get lost. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Cynthia. Next, we have Lourdes Caracosa, who submitted a communities of interest form, but apologies for missing your name initially. Lourdes, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself, and if you're comfortable, you may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Lourdes Caracosa. I was born and raised in East Los Angeles, and I'm also a stakeholder. I asked that the east side, the northeast, the southeast, including the San Gabriel Valley, which is El Monte, and Pico Rivera and Covina and all those cities going east, be preserved in the first district. And I ask this because through the decades, we have become communities that work together. And as a service provider, I too am part of Alma Family Services. And those services have grown to cover all of these communities because of a shared need and an understanding. We see the similarities in the needs and the challenges when it comes to health, mental health, environmental, housing, jobs, and we collaborate. So we are one of many organizations that work collaboratively to support the families in these communities. As a commission, and because of my history here in LA County, in unincorporated LA County, you have the opportunity to support our communities and not do what historically has been done to our communities, Latino, Asian, and communities of color, which is historically was to divide us. And that in turn created additional barriers to our efforts. We have decades of work, collaborations that have allowed our communities to thrive, to build on their strengths in all of those areas, whether it's environmental, housing, jobs, health, mental health. And so I ask that you please take this opportunity to support us so that you can continue to support the progress of our families in all of our communities. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Lourdes. Co-chairs, I believe we do not have anyone else in queue. How would you like to proceed?
I think we should close the public hearing and move on to the regular meeting of the commission.
Co-chair, I believe we just got a Q&A. We have one more speaker.
Okay, let's hear them.
So our next speaker is Sandra Flores. Sandra Flores, momentarily you'll be able to unmute yourself, and if you are comfortable, you may share your video. Once you begin speaking, you will have 3 minutes to make your public comment.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. My name is Sandra Flores. I was born and raised in East Los Angeles, California, and currently reside in La Puente, California. I would like to speak about keeping the San Gabriel Valley with the southeast and northeast of Los Angeles together. We must preserve it as one district. I am currently a student at Cal State LA doing my doctorate program. I'm also an educator, researcher, and mother, and a social justice advocate. I believe it is the best interest of the community and our future generations to maintain East LA, Southeast LA, and Northeast LA, along with the San Gabriel Valley under one district as we are. We are a close-knit community that has learned to overcome barriers, experiencing significant growth through environmental justice projects such as park renovations and community cleanups. The rehabilitation of green areas and opportunities for communities to be engaged and participate in the betterment of their area has been made possible by stakeholders working together for our region. As a community of interest, we also share a major interest in educating our children in inclusive and culturally responsive ways, adding new schools, and collectively advocating for social justice services. I am an educator currently providing preschool services in East LA, which is connected through various services to the Southeast and Northeast LA area along with the San Gabriel Valley. This has also been possible thanks to having one supervisor who advocates and works for the whole region. A basic concept we teach our children is to preserve what works and only attempt to fix what is broken. Our community of interest is not broken. Our region has flourished as a hub of great businesses, generating jobs and creating opportunities as the nexus of culture, language, diversity, and great food. We are stronger together and better together as one region. We hope that the commissioners seriously and the commission seriously consider the interests of people like you and me, residents and professionals who have dedicated their life to their region, and we want to continue to be preserved under one. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Co-chairs, now I believe there are no other in queue.
Okay, if there are no other members of the public who wish to make public comment on communities of interest, we will now close the public hearing and move to the action items on the regular meeting agenda. So I believe we are at the item of consent items, approval of agendas. I'm sorry, approval of minutes. So I believe we have all reviewed the draft minutes for the July 28th, 2021 meeting. Are there any comments, corrections, revisions, questions regarding those draft minutes?
Commissioner Holtzman, you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. I transcribed the motions I made on July 28th and think it would be good to actually have the words of the motion in the motions. I could share my screen to show those if that would be okay. Those changes. Okay, there we go. Can you all see that now, my Word window?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see that I've just put there the direct quotes of the motions I made that were paraphrased, but not quite exactly right on page 5. The second motion was paraphrased pretty well, but as long as I was watching the video to get the words of my first motion, I copied down the words of my second motion as well. So anybody want to take a moment to read those? Or I could read them out loud, or we could, I could just, suggest that we make those corrections to the July 28th minutes.
There's a missing quote in the first one to close the end of your motion.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Thank you. I had it there and I moved it to the very end. So there, yes, very good. I need 2 quotes then. Sorry. All right.
So I believe we have 2 more hands, and I believe Commissioner Orpanella Segura, your hand was up prior to Commissioner Holtzman's comment. Is it for Commissioner Holtzman's comment?
No, I just had a question if the motion was going to include both minutes or if they were going to be taken separately.
For tradition to do them separate if if for a certain meeting a commissioner was absent. So we'll probably just take it separately. Any questions, comments on Commissioner Holtzman's suggested revision to the minutes for that meeting?
Commissioner Obregon?
I guess what I'm wondering is Commissioner Holtzman made a motion and then we're questioning that if it is within our authority. Is it not within our authority? Why would we question the authority part? Because we made a motion to direct ArcBridge to contract with Idelson and Katz. I'm reading a paragraph that gives a big if in it. So that's my wondering about this. That's all.
No, I understand what you're saying, Commissioner Obregon, but these were the words of the motion that I made, because I was thinking we might get some pushback from ArcBridge, but apparently we haven't. So I guess they accepted it was within our authority. So, but I wasn't entirely sure, which is why I made that part of the motion. And the real thing I'm trying to clarify here is that we weren't just authorizing ArcBridge to do the subcontract, we were directing them to do the subcontract. That's the real thing I flagged, which is why I went and transcribed the motion.
Commissioner Orpanella, I'm sorry, Commissioner Obregon, did you want to respond?
I mean, so that's my, I mean, if those are the words that were said, I mean, I guess, yes, that's correct. Yeah, that was my only question is why are we putting an if we directed ArcBridge to subcontract with? That's pretty much what I thought. Sorry.
Okay.
Commissioner Orpanella Segura.
I just have a general question. The format of our minutes, have they included specific language as is being suggested? I did not attend the meeting, but I just want to know for general purposes of previous minutes.
So generally the minutes are supposed to reflect what happened. They usually do not consist of transcriptions of specific words. I understand Commissioner Holtzman, I understand that he viewed the recording and stated the specific words, but I think Commissioner Obregon's question is apt, which is to say that if there was a question about our authority, I think our legal counsel would have spoken up and said, actually, you don't have that authority, or at least there's a question about it. But having made that motion and having used the words direct, I think we can change what the draft minutes say to change authorized to direct. But otherwise, I don't know why we'd want to say something about whether something's within our authority when it clearly is, as indicated by both our legal counsel not speaking up to say that's not actually within your authority, or ArcBridge saying you actually don't have the authority to direct us. So my suggestion is to just change the original to say that we directed ArcBridge to subcontract.
Either way, I think if I may be helpful for future meetings, if we have verbal minutes, it would be great if we could have them typed up on the screen so people know exactly the words they're voting on.
Commissioner Stetcher?
A minor point, but the existing minutes do not say racially polarized voting analysis or analysis of racially polarized voting. They say to conduct racially polarized voting, which is also inaccurate. So that would need to be changed as well.
You are right. Is there a motion to accept the minutes of the draft minutes of the July 28, 2021 minutes with the change, instead of saying that the commission authorized ArcBridge, instead to say the commission directed ArcBridge to subcontract, and instead of saying to conduct racially polarized voting, they would conduct racially polarized, an analysis of racially polarized voting in Los Angeles County. Is there a motion to that effect?
Yes, I shall move.
Commissioner Wong moves. Do I see a second?
A second.
Commissioner Morales seconds. Commissioner Orpanella Segura, did you have a question or comment about a different part of the minutes? Oh, it was just about whether we were going to vote separately. Or...
Yeah, just for consistency purposes, I think that the minutes should remain as a summary rather than text for consistency purposes.
Any further discussion?
I think that going forward, we should have the actual words of the motion in there, and the text should say who made the motion instead of being in the passive voice that said somebody made a motion. But that we can do that going forward. We don't have to change that now.
Okay. Can we take? Are there any further comments or questions, or can we call question? Let's have Ty call roll.
Commissioners, please be prepared to unmute your mic and respond when your name is called. I will now take roll call. Commissioner Jean Franklin.
Yes.
Commissioner David Holtzman.
The host just muted me. Present, abstain.
Commissioner Mary Kenny.
Yes.
Co-Chair Daniel Maeda.
Yes.
Commissioner Mark Mendoza.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Apollonio Morales.
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson Obregon.
Yes.
Commissioner Priscilla Orpanella Segura.
Abstain.
Commissioner Haile Soto.
Yes.
Commissioner Sider Soto.
Yes.
Commissioner Brian Stetcher.
Yes.
Commissioner John Vento.
Abstain.
Co-Chair Carolyn Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Dorina Wong.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Commissioner Holtzman, could you, thank you. And then the next set of minutes is for the meeting of August 7th, 2021. Any corrections, revisions, comments on those draft minutes? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to have those minutes approved as drafted. Chair Williams moves. So I see a second.
I'll second.
Both Commissioner Stetcher and Commissioner Haile Soto seconded. Any further comments, questions? I wanted to take roll, please.
Again, commissioners, please be prepared to unmute your mic and respond when your name is called. I will now take roll call. Commissioner David Holtzman.
Yes.
Commissioner Mary Kenny.
Yes.
Co-Chair Daniel Maeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark Mendoza,
Move for approval.
Commissioner Apolonio Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson Obregon,
Yes.
Commissioner Priscilla Orpinella Segura,
Yes.
Commissioner Haile Soto,
Yes.
Commissioner Saida Soto,
Yes.
Commissioner Brian Stetcher,
Yes.
Commissioner John Vento, Commissioner Vento. I believe Commissioner Vento may have gotten booted off. Co-Chair Carolyn Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Dorina Wong,
Yes.
Commissioner Franklin,
Yes.
and then I see Commissioner Vento, you are back.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda. Executive Director's Report. Kayla.
So, one of the announcements I wanted to make to the commission and to the public, that we were fortunate that Dean Logan of the Los Angeles County Registrar Recorder County Clerk has made it possible to have a small blurb about redistricting in the sample ballot that's going to be going out for the September 14, 2021 California gubernatorial election. This blurb is going to be sent to about 5.7 million registered voters. And below is the text that has been submitted. So I felt that was very good news to share with all of you. I also wanted to go over some quick updates in terms of where we are at with the mapping, because the mapping software is going to be released later this month. A couple of ground rules that the ad hoc working group has been looking at and will be reviewing further is sort of general concepts of, other than LA City, keep cities and unincorporated areas together, and as much as possible use RDUs, which are tracts that basically reflect the cities and unincorporated areas. The timeline for the software training: this week, the commissioners, actually last week, staff and GIS staff in the county were trained. This week, ArcBridge is training the commissioners. If you've not signed up, I encourage the commissioners to do so. It will be in the latter part of August that the public then will receive training, and helplines will be established in different languages. You've already had a discussion in the minutes about the racially polarized voting analysis. We are targeting August 22nd for Bruce Edelson and Jonathan Katz to present an overview of what is involved. The two mappings software phases are going to occur in two different ways. The census data will be included for the preliminary maps that the public can submit and the commission can review through September. Once the census data are readjusted for the incarcerated population, we're going to ask the public to submit any maps they want you to have, to save basically the shape files, because when the official data with the incarcerated data adjustments are added, the database will be wiped out in terms of the maps that are in progress. It's from that point on in October that the public can submit the actual official maps for your consideration going into October, November. We're going to have to be very careful about how we send these alerts out to the public so they understand these two phases. I just also wanted to remind the commissioners about the deadline because it is drawing near. In October, you will be listening to September and October, you'll be listening to the public's ideas in terms of where to draw the lines. By the end of October, we will need to post your options for 7 days. And then you will have 30 days of public hearings to hear basically from the public what they think of your maps. And again, the deadline remains December 15th. In the interest of time, I won't go into great detail, but this is the mapping software training plan that's being developed. And a couple of the other features beyond training the commission and preparing personalized help for the commissioners, we are also providing glossary of technical terms on our website. We will be recording webinars in English. Esri, the software vendor, is providing a whole series on YouTube on how to use the data. We're looking at a 1-hour training webinar in Spanish, and then exploring the need for other languages and going forward. The county is also providing access to GIS technical people who speak multiple languages. When people need that kind of help, our clerk, Ty Vele, will basically set up appointments for that kind of assistance. So that's just sort of a quick outline. As you can see, a lot's going to be happening between now and October as these maps are being prepared and submitted, and then you prepare your own maps. This was covered earlier in terms of the 5 hybrid meetings. This was our first attempt to do one. It was a first experiment, and with each time we'll be in a new facility with, I'm sure, new technological challenges. So we appreciate the public's patience. There is one change I want to note, and I just got this change this morning. The SD4 meeting on September 29th will not be at the Lakewood Public Library, but instead it will be in Bellflower. And I've listed that address in red below, and we'll be posting it on our website. And with that, that's the end of my update.
I believe Commissioner Holtzman, you have your hand up.
Yes, I do. I just want to make comments on a couple things from the beginning of the executive director's report. First of all, that squib that's going in the ballot materials to all the voters. I was investigating that, and I really wanted to bring it to, if I found out it was going to be possible, I wanted to bring it to the commission for approval, because I did remember hearing from some commissioners in some of our early discussions, some concern about tying our work too closely to voting. The thought being that districts were more about representation than voting, and that by only promoting our, we had floated an idea like that, but we didn't have a ballot to put it on. Anyway, but by tying our work too closely to just voting, and by promoting it in a way that would only be received by registered voters, I just remember hearing some people concerned that that might leave out some valuable segments of the population who aren't registered voters. But nevertheless, it's to me, it's great publicity. But I just wanted to apologize that, because it was kind of my idea that the commission didn't get a chance to vote on that. And then the second thing, with the ground rules that the whatever you call it, the working group, ad hoc working group on demography suggested there. I wanted to note that the working group doesn't have the authority to impose those ground rules on the full commission. The full commission could decide on those ground rules if it wants to, but like the idea of keeping cities together, except for LA, may not be the greatest thing in some cases, because we haven't decided if communities of interest are less important than cities. Even though they appear after cities in the applicable sentence of our statute. So, for instance, we heard tonight a comment that it might be a good idea to split Pomona between 2 areas of different socioeconomic statuses, north and south, and I don't want to rule that out at this point. So let's take those ground rules not as the law for us right now, but as things that might make our job easier, but not official at this point. So thank you for your time to listen to those comments.
Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Commissioner Stasher, for bringing up, I'm sorry, Commissioner Holtzman, for bringing up these, I'm sorry, getting feedback here. I don't know where that's coming from, but anyway, my point that I wanted to make is there are mixed status families in Los Angeles County. And so there may be a voter that actually is in a mixed status, whether undocumented, DACA, TPS, asylee, refugee, you name it, within that household. And so we are actually touching a significant number of folks that are not able to vote, but can be informed to a family member about this process.
Commissioner Stetcher?
I have an entirely different point, and so if anyone else wants to speak to this, you should go first.
Right, Gayla, you're muted.
I just want to comment about the opportunity with the registrar recorder. I literally had 10 hours where I had reached out to them. They had originally had an inquiry by Commissioner Holtzman if it would be possible. They said no. I had to elevate it. And they literally were going to press. And within 10 hours, actually it was less, it was more like 4 hours. If you can get us a blurb, we'll put it in. So that was the process, and I'm thrilled that we are going to get it out to all registered voters. That's 5.7 million. And as Commissioner Morales pointed out, we will continue to reach out to other residents who may not be registered voters.
Co-Chair Williams, is this in response?
Yeah, I just wanted to add in terms of that statement, the co-chairs did have a chance to review it on behalf of the commission. So it wasn't Gayla acting alone, but she did have a quick turnaround. So it was reviewed and approved by the co-chairs on behalf of the commission.
Commissioner Stetcher.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention to people that in last Sunday's Los Angeles Times, there was an insert called Community Profiles, which lists each of the cities in Los Angeles County with a little single page or a quarter page brief description and map of the city, description of the population, and I found it very interesting, and I think it might be useful later on when we're actually going to be engaged in mapping to nail down some of these comments that we've heard. And so I saved mine and stuck it on my commission pile.
Thank you, Commissioner Stetcher. I didn't see that, so I'll have to take a look at that.
Commissioner Stetcher, if you provide a scanned copy of it, I can share it with all the commissioners and we can post it.
88 pages, so probably not, but maybe.
But maybe the link.
Okay.
Any other questions for Gayla regarding her executive director report? Anything further for the good of the order before we adjourn this meeting? Thank you for all the commissioners. Thank you for any members of the public who are still tuning in. We apologize for the technical hiccups, but given that this is our first hybrid meeting, I think we managed to plow. I'm sure we'll get better as we go. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye. Good night, everybody.